What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. This is Fightful Wrestling. It is December 14th, 2022. What an insane day this has been. This morning, Fightful Select reported that Mandy Rose had been released from her WWE contract. We're going to be talking a lot more about that, probably even tonight, because I'd imagine we're going to get some chats about it. Humper chats were never more appropriate than tonight, but we talked about it at length on Listing You Boy, but we're here to talk AEW because they had a whole mess of news by themselves. A world title match, another world title match set, a bunch of huge things set for Rampage. The biggest upset in company history, maybe the biggest upset on American wrestling TV in decades, maybe?
Like almost 30 years?
Almost 30 years. On top of a best of 7 match, and most importantly, basketball. We got Roundball Rock to talk about, Alex.
We do. I'm here with the Scoopster. It's me, a guy wrapped in Christmas lights, which I've said is the most apt description of who I am and what I do. Thank you all. For being
for those that lack context, there was this absolute weenie who, like, once every few months is like, "Hey, why isn't Sean getting this Vince McMahon scandal news?" As if somebody from WWE did not directly feed that to the Wall Street Journal, because why wouldn't they? Hate to break it to you guys, the Wall Street Journal is not spending their entire autumn finding out Vince McMahon scoops. This is how everybody finds stuff out. And somebody replied yesterday, "Why are you comparing Fightful to the Wall Street Journal? They have journalists in 180 countries. Sean has Will Washington and a guy wrapped in Christmas lights."
Mm-hmm. It's me.
And
that's this guy right here.
I loved it. Guys, please leave a thumbs up on this video. I'm so happy. YouTube seems to have corrected our algorithm a little bit. But hey, if you want to share this on social media, I greatly appreciate it. And if you want to make it easy, I've got a bunch of posts on my Twitter right now as well that you can just slap a retweet on, and it goes such a long way, and we greatly appreciate it. But you can also get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. You might say, what the heck are humper chats? Well, our mascot here at Fightful is a camel. It is a double entendre based on things that hump, which is a sexual term, if you would believe such a thing. Humperchats.com allow you to leave your question or statement before we go on the air, and all that good stuff as well. Yep. And we've already got plenty of them. Gary Coxhead has been catching up on his humper chats and said, John Alba looks like Adam Driver. It needs to be said. Don't tell him that. Don't let him know that. Don't say that. No. He also says, it's been a while, but I'm back humper chatting. God only knows why YouTube made that tab change. Can't seeing it being good for anybody. We will support Fightful through it. It's been very good for Denise. She passed us some subscribers. It is very, very good for YouTube channels that don't primarily go live because it prioritizes actual videos compared to live videos. And because we are a primarily live platform, it really, really hampered us. And not only that, it wouldn't tell you guys when we were going live. So tap that bell for notifications, and it helps out an awful lot. Daddy Magic asks a question. He says, hey, Alex, a question for you. Yeah. Do you like that hat?
I like this hat quite a lot.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I'm assuming that's the hat. That must be the hat you're referring to, because it's the only hat I know of. Yeah.
Daddy Magic says, evening, friends. Sean, it was truly an honor and a pleasure to meet you at WrestleCade last month. Just one question for you. Have you needed to use your comfort bird yet? As always, thank you to the whole Fightful family. Merry whatever to you all. So this person came up, handed me a carved bird. It was a very cool gift. And yes, I actually used it a lot while I was going through COVID, a ton. So thank you for that. That was a very kind thing. That's one of the coolest things anybody has given me. I greatly appreciate it. That was really, really dope. And Zach says, honestly, one of the best Dynamites I've seen. This felt like a return to form, Alex. Tonight's Dynamite felt like it mattered an awful lot. And it felt like they were saying, oh, by the way, come back for some more on Friday, because we got more of this shit for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to chalk that up to it's, a major TV special for them. Winter is coming every year. That's a big thing they build to. they're the nature of how they book things. It's always going to have the AEW Championship match on Winter is Coming, and because you're selling tickets to Winter is Coming and the Dynamite they tape right after it, you're going to put some really good stuff on that Rampage. The Rampage they tape right after it. You can put some really good stuff on that Rampage to get people in the door, get as good a house as you can. But like, you can do this every week. It doesn't have to be only on the TV specials. But this did feel really special for a number of reasons. One, we were expecting probably Ricky Starks and MJF to have a great match with a good story built-in finish and stuff like that. We were expecting the trios, match number 4 to be a really good match. We probably weren't expecting, as we've talked about, 1, 2, 3 Kid to pin Razor Ramon. We probably weren't expecting that, and yet to me, it was the best moment of the show.
You know, it's interesting because this is a very 1993 show. This is a very sports entertaining show, but I think that AEW really, really needs those shows sometimes to help develop story, and they did really, really great here. Giovanni Reyna says Anthony Rafik Khan made another all-time great show. Alex with the hat, even Santa can't make candy as sweet as you. Well, I'll tell you what did. Roundball Rock. Scotty Bosock says, I got a childhood friend who's been a lapsed fan for 20 years to flip on AEW tonight. Not because of anything wrestling related, because they opened with Roundball Rock. To this day, the two of us will reference it as the greatest sports intro ever.
Oh,
buddy. So now I have mentioned in the past, Alex, I mean, you're an NBA guy. There are some games I'll just watch because they're on TNT, because I love the presentation. I love Shaq. I love Kenny. I love Charles Barkley. I love it. But back in the day, it was NBA on NBC, and it was that song. It was Roundball Rock by John Tesh.
Yes.
I mean, I think half the reason I bought the NBA Showtime game was because of the familiarity with the song. They were able to get this. I was told, and we reported this on FightfulSelect.com, that the rights holders were actually very reasonable, made this very easy, and sometimes that is a big wild card with music rights. Like when I reported that the Orange Cassidy theme was changing, they didn't have it finalized yet. But this is so cool. I love this.
I loved it too. I was so confused when it started because I didn't get the implication of, oh, it's a best of 7 series like the NBA Finals.
Yes.
I didn't get the implication, so I was like, did the sound guy push the wrong file? Did Tony Khan buy the rights to this song to be the new theme song of AEW Wrestling Dynamite? I had no idea, but I loved it, and I was able to sing in the comfort of my own home. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
I love it. I love their willingness to license things. I mean, right now they have access also to the Hardcore Holly theme because they licensed the entire library that the Hardy Boys theme is in. Like, I want them to do like Cold Sweat by Vincent Freites and like all this stuff that you used to hear on like WWF intros and stuff like that. Give me that. I love it. And I was told that Tony specifically thought about it coming out of Full Gear and was like, best of 7. Who identifies with best of 7s and stuff like that? Let's do NBA on NBC. Perfect. That is so cool. That is so cool. I love it. Good. Well, we got the match number 5, which led to Death Triangle defeating the Elite because of a worked injury, which sold an awful lot of people tickets there, Alex. A whole lot of people were like, uh-oh, is Nick hurt? I had people like sending me scoops from the arena. They're like, we'll report back to you. I'm like, okay, pal, you do that. I thought it was pretty obvious once he cold sprayed the injury that it was a work. But
I missed the cold spring. I saw the Doc Samson at ringside, and I was like, he better not be actually injured. But as soon as Taz was like, guys, I don't know if you saw, but they just took Nick Jackson to the back. I was like, oh, it's a work.
Yes. So they worked this injury in, and then when Nick Jackson comes back, makes his triumphant return, he gets hit in the leg with a hammer and tapped out. I love the finish. I thought it made an awful lot of sense. You expected this big comeback and, you know, his legacy is on the line, so to speak, as they reference in this. But no, you can't overcome a hammer. Chi-Town Spurs says he went full Paul Pierce.
Should have had him. Should have taken him out on the wheelchair.
I want them to go like full Kevin Garnett after Game 7. Anything's possible. One of those.
Yeah. The match was great. I love the way that they compensated for Nick being out of it for most of it. It's a clever finish because it's Penta who hits him with the hammer, and Phoenix doesn't really want to capitalize on it, but he does it because his brother tells him to. They tap out. I love Kenny trying to make the save, and Pac's got him in the brutalizer. That was a really good detail. But it's the thing I didn't want. I think it's an infinitely better series and harder to predict the last 3 matches if it's 2-2. Then we have no idea who's going to win match number 5. And at that point, we kind of figure out who's going to win number 6, but then you really don't know who's going to win number 7. Now we know for a fact who's going to win the next 2 matches and probably the next 3 matches in a row. And that, to me, like, dampens it just enough to make me go, I wish they had found a way to have it be 2-2 after 4 matches. I just wish that. That's all. Great match, though.
Meet Normus says, happy Festivus, Fightful Faithful. I was thinking match 7 would be an exploding barbed wire cage match, but a ladder will do. So after this match, Kenny Omega cut a very serene promo. There was not a lot of emotion in this at all, but it seemed like he was very much over the shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, how about next time we make the hammers legal and everything legal? Mm-hmm. It's going to go no DQ. They confirm it later. Then they announce that match 6, if necessary, is a Falls Count Anywhere. Mm-hmm. Match 7 is a ladder match. I kind of think that almost all of them should have had stipulations, but honestly, like, it's wild for me to think we're already in match 5. Like, it's we know it's going 7. We know the drill. They're building up towards a monster LA show, but the ladder match now is what everybody's going to be looking for.
Yeah, no, I also feel like you can do the whole, how about next time? Let's just, every weapon is legal. That way we got to use them on you. We don't have to worry about hiding it behind the ref's back. You guys have gotten pretty good at that, by the way. We don't have to worry about that. Everything's an equal playground. You bring your hammers, we'll bring our chairs, whatever. Let's have a street fight. I think that's fine. But then once you say, oh, if necessary, Falls Count Anywhere, and then double if necessary, as Escalera de la Muerte, I'm like, well, you're definitely going the full 7. Sure. There's we actually probably knew that going into this, but you can help us with our suspension of disbelief by not like putting things in there. We know you're not going to introduce the idea of a Game 7 ladder match and then just not do it. That's definitely not what you're going to do. So those matches are all going to be great. I just wish there was a little bit more unpredictability match to match. That's all.
Eloquence says they've done a great job keeping each match unique. I agree with that as well. But I mean, also while going back to the same thing that builds the story of match 5. Right. Chi-Town Spurs says Tony Khan was a kid living in Chicago area in the 90s. Roundball Rock is ingrained in our minds. Oh, I mean, that's the thing. Like, before I became a Raptors fan because of my proximity to Toronto for my work, I was a Bulls fan, and people were like, well, why? We don't have a local team, and I grew up in the 90s. You were a Bulls fan in the 90s. That's just how it happened.
Just how it happens.
You heard a lot of NBA on NBC, if that were the case.
Yep. That's right.
Sawyer says, great show with a great crowd, a great main event. Highlights were Nick Jackson's sell job and return pop, Hook and JB, and that hanger promo. Oh, buddy, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Sawyer says Pac's face mask constantly looks like it slid down loose and low, blocking his vision, and it makes me anxious. I hope that plays into the story, Alex, that they need to work that in.
They should work it. If they're not going to fix it by having a strap that goes from the top of the mask over the top of his head and connects in the back so it can't slide down. If they're not going to fix it, then they got to make it a part of one of the matches.
Somebody says, why did you delete your tweet in regards to Mandy? I didn't. Well, I kind of did. The original post I had about her release indicated that it was a Brand Army. It was actually a fan time, and Brand Army requested that I make sure that was clarified. So I deleted it and reposted. Unfortunately, I am not familiar with the differences, but you know what? Maybe it's a business expense now. Meet Normus says this Texas crowd was as hot as Mandy Rose's whatever picks. I'm sure Tony or Tay Conti and Zelina get plenty spicy too. What don't we know? All due respect, who gives a shit? Their business,
Right.
their bodies, they can monetize it in any way that they want as long as it's legal, consensual, and safe. I don't have a damn problem with it. But yeah, it's their business, not mine.
It like there is to me like almost what a quarter of an inch of difference between what you're showing and what you're not showing among all these women that they have in their employ that post stuff on Instagram and like bikini shoots and whatever. And it's very odd to me, like, okay, whoa, that's too much of that. That's too much of that. You're fired, as opposed to Instagram picks of the week. And they put it right up there on Raw. It just kind of feels like there's a really weird line you're running.
The Acclaimed come out. They cut a promo or the rap talking about Brittany Griner, Elon Musk, and then they are attacked by Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt. Listen, this is where one of those situations where I like the parts and I am exhausted from the sum. Can these guys get a week off TV? 2 weeks off TV? I'm wanting to see Miro. I want to see some Scorpio Sky. I don't care. Have them team, for the love of God. I just need a break. I need a little bit of a break.
Jarrett and Lethal. Like, this is one of those things of like, I don't miss the ranking system until I miss the ranking system. Why are Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal getting a tag
The
shot?
Wednesday night monkey paw, Alex.
It is. It's one of those things like I don't, they shouldn't be in the same hemisphere as the tag title picture. Like, it doesn't make any, don't you have anybody other than this? Come up with a brand new tag team and then give them a title shot. I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of either Lethal or Jarrett, so I'm never going to be pleased by this. I love what they've done with the Acclaimed. They by legitimizing them like in a huge way by having them beat FTR last week. That was amazing. Like, and then FTR goes and then has that amazing match with the Briscoes. And what do they do with FTR?
How was the zoo, buddy? How was the zoo, buddy? You missed because you missed the one there. That was incredible.
I missed it.
You know what I was thinking, Alex?
Yeah.
So we've got our Fightful awards voting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
First off, it's going to be hilarious when people see who's winning men and women indies of the year. Like, that's going to be great. But FTR have had so many amazing matches. Mm-hmm. They might split the vote so much to where they might not actually win it, and somebody else might sneak in.
Yeah, it's going to be like Cody and Seth from Hell in a Cell.
Well, no. We do have a tag. It's tag team match. It's tag team match of the year.
Okay.
So we've got that separated, but and we will also do like a vanity vote between whatever wins each one, and people will kind of decide. But, whoo boy. Well, we get Jack Perry defeating Brian Cage. I really like Brian Cage right now. Like, he's killing it. But this was a good spot for him as well, because Jack Perry beating a guy that looks like Brian Cage is also very helpful when he's beating Luchasaurus and people like that, getting ready for Big Bill. And I don't care what anybody says. I love Big Bill as a wrestling name. Big Bill Morrissey is a badass wrestling name.
It's a lot better than W. Morrissey.
Yes.
Like, W. Morrissey sounds like a poet from the 1840s.
They could have done Tall Colin.
Yeah.
Tall Colin. Let's go with it.
They could have done Tall Bill. I don't know. I like Big Bill as a name. It's better than W. Morrissey. I think that's going to be an interesting thing that are going to go forward here with Jungle Jack Perry and Hook.
Yeah,
like,
so
that's the big thing.
Let's get into this. Stokely comes out after this match, which was, again, a good match. Fairly short, but I thought it was okay, because sometimes you want a Jack Perry to beat a guy that looks like this, performs like this in that amount of time, because it sets up his match with Big Bill. And now he can say, it ain't nothing for me to beat people your size. I do it all the time. Like, it is not anything that I'm that concerned about.
Right.
Now, Mr. Black still says, I hope Big Bill never puts a shirt on. This Stokely promo. He called him a little how. Aloha.
Mm-hmm.
I live for this shit.
Yep. Yep.
Tom LaValle had a says Jingle Boy Jack Perry teaming with Ornament Hook. Yes. So
that they have to introduce them as the Jungle Hook. Like if I don't get a lower third graphic of the Jungle Hook, I'm gonna be so upset.
You think they sing Bare Necessities? Tony's gonna get the rights to it. We
Yeah,
already
absolutely.
know.
Oh, absolutely.
We already know.
Yeah, that's right. That should be honestly, that should be the name of their tag team finisher. Whatever it is, should be called the Bare Necessities. Don't even call them the Jungle Hook, but just call their tag team finisher Bare Necessities, and we'll all know what joke you're making.
I feel like Hook coming out really lit up the crowd. I feel like
God, yeah.
I think like this is what helped light that crowd on fire for the rest of the night. And this is one of the benefits of when AEW doesn't have somebody on TV every week, because when a guy like Hook pops up, everybody goes, oh, God damn. And we haven't seen Hook for just under a month since he beat Lee Moriarty, but he's been on Rampage. Like he has not wrestled on Dynamite since July. Like, and that's when he won the FTW title. So I thought we were going to see a lot more of Hook, but you know what? Considering the fact that we're accentuating the positives and hiding the negatives on Hook, probably okay that he's been going out getting some reps, probably in practice and stuff like that.
Sure. No, he's only going to keep getting better and better. The match he had with Lee Moriarty felt like it was the longest one he ever had. He doesn't get to get in there with guys the size of Big Bill very often. So that'll be really interesting too. As soon as his music hit, I was like, oh, of course. What a stroke of genius. Like if they say like, listen, like it's Christian Cage is very old. Yes, he's very old. It's going to take longer for the injury to heal than we would like. Let's keep Jungle Jack Perry really hot so that when Christian Cage is healthy and we can do that big blow-off match between them, up until that point, let's have him do something the crowd's going to love. And this definitely fits the bill. This is going to be some really good stuff. The Jungle Hook is give the Jungle Hook a tag team title shot, not Jeff Jarrett and yeah, come on.
Send honk. Guys, please leave a thumbs up on this video. We would greatly appreciate it if you did.
Yeah.
C says, not gonna lie, wouldn't mind Mandy coming to AEW. I wouldn't either. I think that she would be a good addition. Shot Kid 29 says, hearing Roundball Rock on AEW, the sick part of it makes me wish the Falls Count Anywhere was in Michigan to play on Malice at the Palace. Oh, that'd be really good.
That'd be so good.
Oh, we have a Mox BCC promo calling out Yas and Hangman. So Mox lied to us.
Yeah,
he absolutely lied to us.
He totally did.
Because backstage, we get a Sammy Guevara assigned as Garcia's mentor, and we're going to get Moxley versus Sammy on Friday. Before we get into the Hangman promo, Moxley lied to us. He said this was done. He said this was over after ROH Final Battle. And after Final Battle, I would have been fine with it. I don't want this to keep going.
Right.
End it already.
Oh, absolutely end it. This is the thing. Okay. Even Sammy Guevara lied to us in the same sentence. You know, things might be done between the JAS and the BCC, but they're not done between me and John Moxley. You just contradicted yourself in the same breath. Like, things have to be done between you and John Moxley if also things are done between the JAS and the BCC. Both those things can't exist on the same plane of the universe. So I'm sorry, that does not make sense. You can't do it. I'll just have Moxley beat the hell out of Sammy on Friday and move the hell on.
I'm so done with it. I am not done with Hangman and Mox, though. Holy shit. God. I am not done with that. I love this. I love still the connection with Dark Order. These guys still love him. They still love their friend. And that's so awesome. They are there while he's getting evaluated. And Hangman cut this promo and he's like, get dizzy in the shower, still have headaches in the morning. He was like, but the hell that I went through was not knowing my child's name when I turned on my phone and somebody said, what's his name? He's like, I didn't know my child's name for an hour after I woke up. And he's like, there's nothing else that Moxley can take from me. Whoo, boy. This is good. This is good.
If he wants to send me back to that hell, I'm dragging him with me.
Ooh,
that's some good stuff. Now,
oh boy,
I loved everything about this Adam Page promo. That thing was a masterpiece. I don't know if that's a specific truth that he went through, but it feels like it. And it's perfect. I loved it. The one thing that because I can't not. Evil Uno needs to just stand there. The entire time he's like in the back. So my eye kept looking from Hangman, who's just he's just in the moment, to Evil Uno, who's shaking his head back and forth over again. I was like, you're drawing my focus. Stop drawing my focus. You standing there with your ridiculous mask and your plaid flannel under a hoodie.
You know what's amazing? Evil Uno has the nicest eyelashes I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, you can tell through the mask even. I interviewed him. Mm-hmm. It'll be up soon. Also, an interview with Ethan Page dropped today. Ooh. We have just a whole mess of interviews over the past week and upcoming. I mean, where's the lie? We got Bobby Fish on Sunday on Wrestling Perspective Podcast. Willow Nightingale on Friday. We had Ethan Page today. Danny Limelight the other day. Switchblade Jay White does not do wrestling interviews by and large, and he did one with us this past weekend. Had Carmelo Hayes last week, Shaza McKenzie, Billy Starks, Dax Harwood, Santino Marella. Just a plethora of interviews. EC3 this past weekend. If you're into that sort of thing, he's trying to work some kind of angle, and it's very concerning. I don't want anything to do with it, but hey, there you go. The interview was good. Wrestling Perspective Podcast. Check it out. YouTube.com/Fightful. The Ethan Page interview was one of my favorites because he was such a good sport about me talking about him getting hacked. Because I was like, man, honestly, I saw the stuff you were saying, and I was like, this guy's been hanging out with Dan Lambert too much. Like just way too much. And Sammy Callahan walks back, and he's like, it was him. It was him. It had to be him. But check out that interview. Lots of fun run-ins. It's a good time. Gary Coxhead said, is there anything to Hangman not being on last week's AEW? No, he's actually good to go. Yeah. Broadway Joe says, first time watching AEW since 2020, and it was good. I wish some stuff got more time to breathe, specifically Hangman's promo. It was heavy stuff just to hear Excalibur yelling 2 seconds later. Yeah. That is a very good point. Like, sometimes you fade to commercial. Mm-hmm. You just fade to commercial there. Mm-hmm. Tom LaValle says, SRS, how many run-ins were there in the Ethan talk? Right. There was Nyla Rose, Scorpio Sky. He got a little pissy at the Brian Pillman one. Sammy Callahan, and I feel like maybe one more. I can't remember. There were a lot. There was one story that I edited out of out of that too. But yeah, it was a good time. We've got so many interviews. We're dropping like 3 or 4 a week coming up. Jay Floyd says Mandy should pull a Cardona, make $1 billion. Buddy, Mandy ain't got to take another bump in her life to make 7 figures a year.
Oh my God.
And if you thought the content she was putting out before was saucy, buddy, she didn't have anybody to answer to. Got nobody to worry about now.
Nope.
Tino Sabatelli set for life, buddy. Zach, the AEW mod, says, love you, Fightful. Been supporting from the shadows. Any update on Adam Cole? Subscribe to Select. Well, fortunately, he's been doing some streaming, which is very, very cool. But listen, I don't have any particular information on that. I can tell you that personally, when I had a concussion, there were days when I felt wonderful. There were days where I felt like I wanted to jump off a building. It felt really, really bad. When he had his concussion, he also had some really, really bad shoulder labrum issues. And I would imagine that he probably got those taken care of. But yeah, just an assumption. Oh boy, the Swerve video. This guy is going to be a top heel. And honestly, if MJF weren't holding the title right now, I would think that he would be a world champion by the end of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
But I fully believe MJF's going to hold it all through next year. But right now you got Swerve. And he said, I don't have friends. I have affiliates, which means like I have people who can benefit me financially and vice versa. That's it.
Right.
I love it.
Yep.
He's got such an evil smile. I keep on saying it. You don't know what he's up to. You just don't know what he's up to.
No, you don't. I think there's I don't know exactly how Swerve winds up TNT champion, but that's the thing. I think he's got a good 6-month run somewhere in 2023 of being the TNT champion, feuding with I think maybe you could do a thing where somehow Keith Lee gets the title off of Samoa Joe and immediately Swerve cheats to take it off of Keith Lee. Keith Lee will be fine if he has a short run as the TNT champion. And then you can run Ricky Starks. That's what I want to do. I want Ricky Starks versus Swerve. I think that's an amazing, just below the main event feud for 2023. While we're doing whatever we're doing with MJF, I think that Swerve and Starks could make magic together.
Can't wait to see how that works out. House of Black beat the shit out of the Factory. You knew it was happening. Pablo K says, Fightful fan for a while, first time super chatter. Well, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate that. We largely run on the donations and subscriptions of you guys. So do you have House of Black go for the trios, or do you go singles for Malachi, tag for King and Matthews? I think you have to have them go for the trios, Alex. I think they are too important of a trios to just go by the wayside. So until January 14th, or 11th or whatever the hell it might be, I think they just keep racking up wins. I think that's what you do. You keep giving them big wins. And I think that them versus the Elite is a big time feud that you do at Revolution. That is a absolute humper of a match.
The Elite versus the House of Black, penciled in at Revolution is like, that's going to be so great. That's going to be so great. And the thing of it is that tonight really doesn't even qualify as a match. Like, there was no tagging in and out. QT Marshall took one spin kick and got pinned. Buddy and Brody destroyed everybody on the outside.
Buddy, Factory leaving that show like they're feeling it. They're
feeling it. So I wouldn't mind if we didn't see a real House of Black match until after the Elite are the champions, to like really show them like there's nobody who can stand in our way. We're coming for you. We'll have matches against other trios, but those matches aren't really going to get started because we're going to destroy everybody. In the first real match they've got, like, there's some really good stuff to do there just to build these guys the thing of it is I love this new entrance, and I also really miss the old one with the antlers and all that stuff, like the one they did before. Like they can reinvent themselves over and over again. Julia Hart, now having been bequeathed the mist, is a great touch. Like, it's awesome. I love this act. Bequeathed.
That sounds like something Mandy was doing that got her fired. I don't know. Sawyer says House of Black is over as heck. Hook that to my veins. Brent Lockman says at this point they should make an album of House of Black themes. And I love that. Mikey Ruckus is real good. Orion Ben also says Swerve is somewhere between the Joker and the Riddler. Well, I'll tell you what's no joke. NordVPN.com/Fightful.
Yeah.
Man, I did so much traveling over the last few months. LA, Toronto, Cincy, Louisville, Winston-Salem, Nashville, back here to Lexington. And NordVPN.com/Fightful was there all along the way. The fastest VPN in the world. It worked on all my devices. When I was on the road, it was my Surface Pro on my phone. When I was home, it's my desktop, my TV, my router, all with one subscription to the fastest VPN in the world. And while I use that, I can block online trackers, annoying pop-up ads, and malware, which is stuff that you want to avoid, especially when you're traveling. You don't want to lose access to your data or just have people tracking you when you're on the road. Also, I'm saving a bunch of money on pay-per-views because you can change your virtual location with just one click. Like, I don't know, maybe New Zealand, Indonesia, something like that. Get access to a lot of services that you wouldn't normally have, like the old WWE Network interface that so many of you missed. When I was sick, I was watching WWE Network and finally got to watch some WWE documentaries. I didn't have to navigate Peacock. I got to navigate the WWE Network. You can watch AEW without commercials on AEW Plus. Plus, that UFC pay-per-view this past weekend, that main event and co-main event, boy, were those disappointing results. And I didn't regret it because I paid a lot less. With NordVPN.com/Fightful. Check it out, my friends. A great deal, 4 additional months free, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Well, I'm going to guess Chris Jericho wants a guarantee back on this match. But Alex doesn't. Alex is happier than a pig in shit, guys. Somebody said Singapore is also a great place to view wrestling. Alex, Chris Jericho lost to a Swing of Honor on Saturday, and he lost to Action Andretti tonight. Fightful Select reported that Action Andretti had been under some sort of AEW agreement back in October. We don't know if it was full-time or not. This was perfect. This was perfect pro wrestling, Alex. The fans were chanting, "Let's go, Jobber." The crowd was behind him when that first kick out. That's what did it. That would have been enough. If Jericho won, I think that people would have been like, "Oh, damn, good showing for Action Andretti." Instead, what they did was they gave this guy a lot of offense, this beautiful Arabian press to the outside. He's so smooth. He's able to like defy gravity with like some elementary moves like a forearm. This was special. This was their Razor Ramon 1, 2, 3 kid moment. This is the biggest upset probably since then on like primetime wrestling television. Maybe somebody will have some more or another one that's up there. Feel free to drop them in the chat. But my thing is follow up with this kid. Follow up with him. Do not leave him off TV for 2 months, then have him come back and get kicked in the head by Malachi Black and House of Black as a part of a trios. Follow up with him. They signed him. He got the All Elite graphic. All Elite graphic. Ari Daivari doesn't even have an All Elite graphic. He's been signed for like 6 months. The crowd was white hot for this, Alex. I am very excited to see how you respond to this.
Well, I was watching it, and I was Jericho during that Yas promo to started name dropping Ricky Starks. Like, we all know Ricky Starks is losing to MJF tonight. To me, there's no better way to cool off his meteoric rise than by saddling him with Chris Jericho for 6 months, because that's the minimum length of time a feud with Chris Jericho lasts. And it would just be them trading wins and everything. I was like, okay, beat the Jobber in 2 minutes, and then cut a promo about how Ricky Starks, after you lose to MJF, I'm coming for you, and I can be mad. But instead, they did the best out of nowhere shock upset booking in 30 years. Like, because I don't know who Action Andretti is. I don't watch Dark. I didn't know who this guy was. But I love that he comes out and they put up Chris Jericho in the lower third as they're focusing on him making a muscle. Like, they didn't even have the right lower third under the guy. Of course this dude's not winning. But then he kicks out of the code breaker and he starts doing stuff, and the crowd is really amped. For like when he got thrown into the corner and then Jericho ran after him and he got a boot up, the crowd was like, yeah, he got a boot up in the corner. The crowd was just like playing along until I think the crowd was expecting what's going to happen is Chris Jericho's going to cheat like he always does, and he's going to win. And then the kid will go back to Dark or whatever. But I was hoping Chris Jericho, because I didn't think the kid was going to win. I thought Jericho was going to win by cheating, and then the kid would get a rematch versus Chris Jericho, and then he would win. I didn't think they were going to pull the trigger. Now that was a huge shock to me, and honestly, like as a guy who's at this stage of his career, Jericho being the guy to get pinned in a 1, 2, 3 kid moment is one of the biggest things he could possibly do. What a rub to give this kid. Because as much as I don't like Jericho's act, I can't deny the dude's an absolute all-timer. All-time, one of the all-time greats. So to be in this position where he gives that rub to this guy and then freaks out backstage, you know he's going to want a rematch. And then it depends. Now we get to see what Tony Khan does and how they're going to book things going forward. Because this could be a feud between this kid, Action Andretti, and Chris Jericho that like Jericho somehow keeps losing and it drives him insane. And there's some really cool stuff you could do with that. I'm really looking forward to what I hope is that we look back on this night in a year as Action Andretti is continuing to rise up to the upper mid card. And we go, what an amazing night that was. As opposed to looking back on this thing in a year and going, oh yeah, what was that kid's name who beat Jericho? Like, I want this to lead to something big. Use this to springboard this kid to something important down the line.
For those of you who are wondering more about the jobber from tonight's match, it was Chris Jericho. He is a 30-plus year vet with experience in WWE, WCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling. He has actually held the world title 8 times, so kind of a big one for them to have.
Yeah.
Graham says AEW Dynamite, Action Pawlowski's Christmas Miracle.
It's a Christmas Jericho miracle.
Mr. Acosta says, hope Action doesn't end up only on Dark after this. Indeed. Mr. Black Soul says, Alex must be in heaven. Jericho lost twice this week. Justin says, who is Action Andretti? He has actually had several matches in AEW throughout 2022. QT Marshall, who is better than Chris Jericho now, did beat him several months ago, but he's done a lot of stuff in MPW. Like he's been around. He's worked the indie circuit for about probably 3 years. I know he did a GCW match a couple of years ago too, but he faced somebody on Settlement Series too. So he's been around, worked the indie circuit. Justin says, did Alex have to sell his entire soul for this or just a portion?
If the devil had approached me at the crossroads and said, for a portion of your soul, Chris Jericho will lose to a kid no one's ever heard of on Winter's Coming, I would have had to think about it at least.
Connor says, I don't pop out loud too often, but that was an awesome moment for Action Andretti. It was special. I mean, and the crowd was
white hot for that kid. Like they sensed something was afoot. And they were really excited to have been in the building for that to happen. And him diving, like doing a full Lambo leap into the crowd, was a really cool moment for that kid.
Volob says 1, 2, 3. Andretti just rolls off the tongue. Damn. Tom LaValle says, Action Andretti impressed me on Dark a few weeks back. I knew he could go. I'd like to see Jericho put a bunch of guys over in the next few weeks. I would too. But do you think it would minimize what Action Andretti has done?
If he starts putting over other people, it makes this not special. This should be a thing that drives Jericho crazy, that he lost to this kid nobody ever heard of. Like that, it's got to be a thing with him. I think it would be great. I mean, like there's an easy way of doing other things with it. It's like, hey, good job, kid. Let me shake your hand. And then he ingratiates him into the Jericho Appreciation Society, only to sick all of his dogs on him. There's all kinds of stuff that you could do with this relationship here. I think this could be a really great thing for Jericho to do outside of the main event is making this kid over the course of a few months. I think it'd be really great stuff.
Reminder, guys, get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. We greatly appreciate those. Broadway Joe says, only logical follow-up is Action versus Jericho. Loser wears a diaper match. That was actually like 3 years after the 1, 2, 3 kid Razor Ramon thing. Like that's when both of them were on their way out.
Yeah.
Adam Weller says, as soon as Excalibur led the plugs with, I don't think I'll have long in this match, I started to think of 1-2-3 Kid. Something in his tone, I think. It was a nice setup, honestly. Yeah. And I definitely didn't expect it. Even after that first kick out, I was like, oh, okay, well, they gave him enough. That was enough. Patrick Johnson says, Andretti wrestles a lot in Maryland. He's fantastic. Wrestled Brian Cage and tore the house down. He is all elite. He certainly is. He's got signed. And I that's the thing. I was like, well, he's got to be under a contract because at this stage, a Triple H would be like, come on over next week.
Yeah.
Come on over next week and lose to Braun.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Or Omos. Omos probably.
It'd be Omos.
It'd be Omos.
Not only that, it'd be 2 other guys with him. He'd be one of 3.
Yep.
Michael Keys says, 15 months as a member. Let's go, Jobber. What a wild match. And Joey Bag of Donuts says, we all knew as soon as Jericho mentioned Jobber, the dude was going to pull an upset, but it was so well done, it created a special moment. I didn't know that because I didn't think they would have him lose back-to-back.
I thought they were going to have Jericho cheat to win.
Sure.
And then the Kid gets a rematch, and maybe then you get the Kid get put over. But I thought they were going to do the thing they did with James Ellsworth, where he only won the match that he got the upset with because AJ Styles like cheated on his behalf or something. Like it would be like if they're going to do Jericho versus Ricky Starks would cost Jericho the match and the Kid would get the victory that way. I thought they were going to run one of those stories. I never thought they were going to have, hey, Kid's first match on Dynamite against Chris Jericho and he wins clean. Never crossed my mind.
Jim says, feel bad for y'all. I'd watch this on TBS. NordVPN and Fight. Let me see the kick out live. Crowd went crazy. Well, I think I saw that at least. Adam Weller says, I wonder if the Motorsport Andretti's may have something to say if that's not actually his last name. Valentino Rossi has to worry about Valentino too. I mean, Andretti is a name. So, I mean, you can do that as long as they're not promoting him as a race car driver.
Yeah. Spark plug Bob Andretti.
Yeah, there we go. Adam says, as much as Jericho's stuff is overstayed its welcome of late, there wasn't a better performer in that spot with Andretti than Jericho. Great stuff. This played so much different than Jericho's own win over Scott Hall as well.
Yeah.
The crowd got into it and all that. I thought that was really, really important. You could tell that Jericho has been on the other end of that, and he realized how important it was to make sure that it all made emotional sense as well. Skills that kills says, hope Shawn Dean and Action team up to beat MJF and Jericho.
That'd be funny.
I do like that Shawn Dean went deep into that battle royal last week.
Yeah, too. That was good. They're playing up on that history.
Shot Kid says, Andretti was one of the most brilliant things I've seen in a while. Watching the crowd go from joke chants to genuine cheers at the pin.
Yes.
Was amazing. I can't wait to go back and watch that. I can't wait to watch that again and see.
Just when you watch the crowd, like, oh, this is let's go Jobber. We're cheering for the guy we don't know his name.
Yeah, one of those.
Wouldn't it be crazy if this kid actually won?
We're having a good time.
We're having a good time. Holy shit, he won.
Yeah.
Like that was a really cool moment.
Caps fan says, Andretti is the current Maryland Championship Wrestling champion. I've seen him wrestle live at MCW. Him and Dante Martin are the future of AEW. I did see some people that were like, why couldn't this have been Dante or Darius?
It's got to be somebody nobody knows.
Brand new. A few spots on Dark. It really does mimic the 1-2-3 Kid thing.
Right.
FTR promo. So one thing that I noticed, we got at least clips of the Briscoes, which seems like progress on that front. Obviously not enough, but they're talking about the Ass Boys. They ain't happy with the Ass Boys. And I love that Dax on Saturday was like, no, you've annoyed us to the point to where it's just our mission to mess with you. Like, we're just going to ruin your lives. And I believe that they would do it. I think they are headed towards losing all the titles. I think they lose ROH titles this past weekend. I think they probably lose AAA titles at the end of this month. I think they lose the IWGP titles on January 4th. I think that's where they're headed towards. I know that will fuel a lot of rumors. And if you're FTR, boy, they love kicking up the drama.
They do.
especially Dax. He loves it.
Mhm.
And he said in our interview, you know what? I've considered maybe just us wrestling off TV for a year. I ain't buying it, buddy.
No,
but
I'm not buying it either. But
I
it
buy
does.
that they're going to try to make me buy it.
Yes. It would not for a whole year, but like, can you imagine just the buzz around the 400 people in attendance in some indie show where the local Fed, they've got the current tag team champions against a mystery opponent, and all of a sudden FTR walks through the door like that. They would love to do that for those fans.
Give me them against Violence is Forever and the Marino Philly experience. I would love to see that stuff.
Yep.
I would love to see that. That'd be cool. Oh my God, them hitting a big rig on Alley Catch and then beating up Effie. Oh my God, man.
Perfect.
Which I don't know if they could do GCW, but Jake Hahn says the best part was how people, when they were chanting Jobber, Jericho yelled, "Come on, action," to get people to know his name. That was very smart.
Yeah.
That was very smart. Baker's backstage. She's talking that shit. Sky Blue comes up. Promo left a lot to be desired there, I thought. She was like, "Oh, Britt, you're so good at talking." And I was like, that makes one of you.
I was like, "You're so good at talking." I thought Britt was going to take them, and you're not. So what's your point?
Yes. They're going to wrestle on Rampage.
Yeah.
Sheeta and Hayter. I just love Hayter being like, "I am not fun to be in the ring with. It's going to suck for you." That match is set up for next week. I do wish we had more, by the way, of setting that up. I would love to see Sheeta getting some wins on TV, beating some people. I would like that. But I'm excited for the match. I just want to see more. I want to see more from Sheeta leading up to this. I think they could have they underserved that.
Yeah. Sheeta versus Hayter is a great match for Hayter to have her first defense against. Sheeta's always going to be goated in this division because for her title reign. So I think it's a really great thing for her, and we'll see that. Hey, they didn't reference their little January 11th in LA mystery partner. They didn't even reference it. Like, I thought they were going to bring it up every week to get that buzz going. But
so the fact that they didn't makes me wonder, did they go, "Ooh, this was not who this is not what we anticipated." Uh-oh.
Right. Yeah.
So this is the first thing that's made me question, is it or isn't it Sasha? And I'm going to have some Sasha Banks news on FightfulSelect.com this week, probably Thursday. Subscribe, the best $5 in the business. Over the past couple days, we had news on when Ethan Page says he might wrap it up his career. We have Dan the Dad early interview notes. He said that he did check on Toa Leona after that stiff spot that they had. We had Kevin Owens pitching a match to Shawn Michaels and how much Shawn Michaels made for Crown Jewel. We had the Mandy Rose release news, and we've had a ton of follow-up on the Mandy Rose release news. We've got the awards voting for the Fightful Awards, which I'm so excited about. A ton of internal reaction to Vince McMahon's issues, him wanting to come back. We had backstage news, producers from WWE Raw, lots of stuff. That's just since yesterday, guys. That's in addition to a bunch of shows every week. Alex and Kate doing Sour Graps and all that good stuff. I got a Q&A show this week as well. Just tons of good stuff over on FightfulSelect.com. Ruby Soho defeated Ty Mello. They played into the broken nose. The only issue I had with this match was Ty repeatedly being like, "Oh my God, I didn't pin her." Now, granted, one was after a Gotch style pile driver.
Right.
That's worth it to me.
Yep, that's worth it.
Because that's something that I figured would finish somebody. Back in my day, they just banned the move.
Right.
So I that's the only problem I had with it. Ruby winning this, Anna attacking Soho. You kind of know that Anna's going to attack afterwards. You know you're going to get more out of that. I would like to see this match on Rampage. I mean, either one of these matches because I would have loved to have seen Hikaru Shida getting a win here. I would have really liked that. Even have Hikaru Shida beat Anna Jay and have Ruby Soho there like as her backup or something like that. Like that would have been good to lead up to that title match, especially because it looks like Ruby, who seems like perpetually has had friends on screen, now doesn't have friends.
Yeah. That does feel odd. I mean, I don't think Eddie Kingston's going to come down and give the spinning back fist to Anna Jay, but you never know. It's Eddie Kingston. He almost lit a man on fire. So I don't know. I'm not really sure if they could just say, well, you're friends with Shida now, and they could just make that a thing if they wanted to at any point, or whoever. But I think that they got some people they could team up with her.
Yeah, I think that would have been. Sorry, as soon as I posted I'll have Sasha news this week, everybody drops and texts me that's watching, and they're like, tell me the news. Willow would be a good one. Willow would be great. Willow wasn't there tonight, so if they had plans, she just wasn't there tonight. Dustin and Best Friends are backstage to challenge Butcher Blade, Kip, and Trent Seven. Sure. I mean, I'm interested in watching Dustin Rhodes wrestle because he's Dustin Rhodes. Like that's what I want.
Dustin Rhodes cutting the promo saying, "Me, Orange Cassidy, best friends, the Spooky Boy," and Danhausen going, like, not are you talking to me? That was so great. This will be a fun little 8-man tag. Sure, why not? I also low-key love the team of Kip Sabian and Trent Seven. Like they seem like they fit perfectly together. I love that they both have gray hair for some reason that like cinches it for me. I'm like, yes, that is the icing on the cake for me. They both have gray hair. Sold.
Eloquent says, SRS, any update on Santana? I would expect him to still be out for several more months. I wouldn't expect him back till early summer, maybe late spring. But you know what? When you're hurt, when you're sidelined, rest is important, Alex. And you get that rest at helixsleep.com/Fightful. Helix Sleep is a premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. This includes 14 unique mattresses, including a collection of luxury models, ones for big and tall sleepers, and ones that are made just for kids. I took their quiz a couple years ago, got matched up to the model perfect for me, and as a result, I get a more versatile night's sleep. I get a better night's sleep. I went from just sleeping on my back to now also being able to sleep on my side. And there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. So helixsleep.com/Fightful offers a free or risk-free 100-night trial. Try out your new mattress. See how your body adjusts. If it's not the right fit for you, you're welcome to a full refund, and they'll pick it up for you. You take that quiz, you're matched up to the perfect mattress for you. You don't have to go roll around on a mattress that somebody else has been on. If you don't want to take my word for it, it's been awarded the #1 mattress pick by GQ and Wired magazine. And right now, helixsleep.com/Fightful is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders, 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/Fightful. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Whenever I'm on the road, I am missing my Helix mattress. I did not have a good mattress before this. And when I was struggling to make those hours that I was sleeping count, I was like, I need to invest in my sleep. And I searched around, I found Helix, and I loved them so much that I hit them up. I mean, I bought my Helix mattress. It was not given to me. And I hit them up and I said, you know what? I would love to do work with you guys because this has helped me out so much. And I always love hearing when it helps you guys out so much. This stuff is delivered straight to your door. helixsleep.com/Fightful. Up to $200 off all mattresses and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Check it out. helixsleep.com/Fightful. Brandon Charles Powell says if they keep Dustin Rhodes hot, I'd love for him to get a title shot against MJF. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. He could be like, I ruined your brother's career. He couldn't win the title here, so he had to go to the minor leagues and win the title.
Yeah, I love that. I also would legit love, because if he says like 2023 is gonna be his last year wrestling, and we all think, oh, that means his last match will be in December. Like if in October he gets his title match versus MJF, and MJF retires him with something like unexpected, because we all expect Dustin Rhodes to have a couple more matches after this, but instead MJF retires him. Like that would be a really cool use of heat there.
We had a couple of great interviews backstage. You had MJF. He was basically burying Ricky's promo. Like that's what it was. He was like, "You're not a good talker, not really." Like one of those. I wasn't impressed, not at all. Yeah. Here's why. And Ricky stuck to the game plan. He stuck to what brought him to the dance. What did you think of these? I thought this was really good to have these to build up to the main event. It was a great approach. You see MJF getting worked on backstage too.
Yeah. I thought these were great. Ricky Starks, like giving him the second one, also very important because he gets the last word before the match. His whole promo style and delivery just feels so organic. It's a really cool thing. It just feels that there's so much energy, so much adrenaline to the way that he speaks. I also love MJF that feels more calculated. Not like you can tell it's scripted, even though you can tell it's scripted. But like the way that he does it feels like he has carefully chosen the words that he is going to say to eviscerate you, as opposed to Ricky Starks, who's like, "Let me tell you, I'm going to do this thing right here, right now." Like it feels different, but they're both equally great.
This match, I really enjoyed it. It reminded me of like a 1992, 1993 WCW world title match that you might see on WCW Saturday Night. And that's a good thing for me. That's a very good thing for me. Like it's looking like Flair or Zbyszko or somebody doing the abdominal stretch and holding the ropes. I love that. And MJF is able to turn back the clock and get a reaction for that. Like when the ref kicked his arm out, like I feel like I haven't seen that in over a decade. And it's something that Triple H would like pull out here and there.
Right.
Right down to the finish. Like there was so much in this match that felt like it was straight out of like 1987 NWA or World Class or something like that. And it was perfect for what the crowd had already seen. And they were already hot. So if they're already hot, well, what do you not need to do? You don't need to do a bunch of crazy shit. If they're already hot, manipulate them emotionally in a positive manner, of course. And then he kicks Ricky in the balls and takes it. These are two guys that if AEW has their way, will hopefully be wrestling for this title many times over the next 10 years.
Right. This was very good. I loved the spear from Ricky, him being too injured to make the cover immediately, crawling over, throwing one arm over the chest of MJF, and MJF kicking out at 2.5 directly into the salt of the earth armbar was really great. And then systematically making it so that Ricky couldn't reach the bars, the ropes with any of his limbs, except for the final one. That was awesome. And of course, it's MJF, so he's got to do it. He cheats, kicks him in the balls to get the victory, and I love that he kicked him in the balls and then small packaged him, because it doesn't give the ref an opportunity to go like, why is this man laid out on the ground clutching his groin? Like he could not know that. So this was that was why it was so smart to do it that way. To me, the story is easily there to keep Ricky Starks circling MJF's orbit for a year. Have him do his own thing elsewhere. MJF's going to have other title matches, but when you get into the fall, start ramping it back up again. And Ricky Starks winning that title a year from now at Winter is Coming to make sure that January 1st, 2024 can't happen and he can't leave with it. I mean, I think personally, MJF will be staying in AEW, but you want that story to keep going, the uncertainty of it. Can anybody make it so MJF can't take the title with him when he leaves and have it be Ricky Starks a year from now at Winter is Coming again? I think that that could be an amazing story to tell over the next year.
I'll say this, whether he's staying or not, he's telling everybody that his contract is up. I don't know if I believe it, probably don't, because he's MJF, but he ain't telling anybody that he's signed a new deal if he has.
Right.
Ricardo says, peace on Earthquake and Waylon Mercy Mild.
Yeah, we were doing the Christmas puns last night on the NXT show. It was a lot of fun.
Broadway Joe says the main event felt very WWE to me. Never got out of second gear. Tuned in for the first time in 2 years to see Ricky, so they got something with him. I mean, I don't think that it was ever supposed to be super fast paced. Like I said, I thought 92 WCW type of thing, or 93, whenever, you know, like Ric Flair might have came back or something like that. That's how I felt. Maybe even like early 90s. Like that's how I feel about that. And I'm okay with that because I loved that era of wrestling, especially from a TV perspective. Like it was good television wrestling. And if you ask MJF, he would probably point more towards late to mid 80s. But there was some good TV wrestling there despite all the weird shit. So MJF darts out of the ring and Bryan Danielson's music hits. Now, we didn't see him with BCC for a reason. I want to see how he feels about BCC as well, but he runs MJF off. Boy, this is a good one. I don't know if they're going to hold off doing this for 2.5 months. Hopefully not.
They always do. They find a way. They find a way. MJF's just not going to defend the title until then.
Well, he's had 9 matches this year, which is 6 more than Paddy Pimblett. And he was at Paddy Pimblett's UFC fight this past week, which, by the way, that belt looked like $1 million on UFC TV. It really did. And MJF keeps lucking into good publicity because there was no more appropriate fight for him to be at than the one where the guy he was talking shit to should have lost and got gifted a decision. So that was good publicity as well. But Bryan Danielson, MJF, I think they'll do it in Seattle.
I mean, they might, quote unquote, do it in Seattle, but it won't actually be the full match. There'll be something like it'll be a schmoz at the end of it, and then they'll do the rematch or whatever at San Francisco. I think they might be one of those things. But I do think the real match between Danielson and MJF will probably happen at Revolution. Listen, every time I think they can't possibly stretch this out until the next pay-per-view, they always find a way to do it. And MJF has said, like, I have to defend the title when it's coming, but you're not going to be able to see me defend the title on free TV.
Yeah,
like, and he's said that many times. So I'm just gonna, like, I'll see what happens, but I think for sure Danielson MJF in at Revolution will be the match. Sure. But they might try to do it before then too.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I don't think it'll be Seattle. They'll want Bryan Danielson to win in Seattle. So he'll get a showcase there. Reese Power says, late to the party tonight, but Alex must have loved that Jericho loss. Matthew Plus says, SRS, please interview Scripps tonight. No,
you don't have to. It's fine.
Is Scripps available before we go off the air?
Hold on. He just shows up.
Sheldon says Danielson's demeanor tonight was simple. MJF effed around, and Danielson is going to make sure MJF finds out how much he effed around tonight. Well, I can't believe we're doing this bit on the most watched show of the week, but we do have Scripps here. He is seen on NXT's post show every Tuesday night here on youtube.com/Fightful. Please make sure to subscribe. Please do not unsubscribe because of this. Scripps, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing over there, McMahon? I'm sorry, Sean Rockchap.
Scripps. How do I pronounce your name?
It's Scripps, but you can call me Jesse the Body. Everybody always does.
So you're a hacker, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a hacker. I got my ins at the Pentagon, so I know how to hack into all the spy satellites.
Okay, so I interviewed Ethan Page today about being, or not today, but recently it aired today about being hacked. Do you have any information as to who that might be?
Who might have hacked Ethan Page? Well, I mean, listen, it's all a conspiracy theory, like the moon landing or non-alcoholic beer. It's nobody's hacking Ethan Page. It's all him doing it all himself.
So John Moxley drinks non-alcoholic beer. Are you saying that he is like a perpetual liar as a result of this?
I'm just saying there's no such thing as non-alcoholic beer. It could be a different beverage. They bottle it in the old Duels bottle, but it's not necessarily a non-alcoholic beer. That's one of them oxymorons.
So what's a myth about it? That it's non-alcoholic or that it's beer?
Like, listen, beer has alcohol. That is a crucial ingredient in the production of beer. It can be fizzy gold liquid, but it can't be beer.
Okay. What about butterbeer?
Well, that's
from like Harry Potter or something, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't read those books or see the movies, so I wouldn't know about it.
Really? You didn't at all?
No, I had to do a total media blackout. It's just me and my own podcast I listen to, and of course this one that I go on.
So, we are hemorrhaging viewers. Fortunately, is at the end of the show, but
Yes,
Clay
that's
says
right.
something to make Sean feel better about allowing some SGS silliness on a normal post show. I mean, you're usually on screen with Kate. How
That's
would you
right.
say? How would you say that I differ from her?
Well, listen, mostly the beard. It's mostly the beard. You don't
Mostly the
have
beard.
bangs, and she has bangs, and she doesn't have a beard, and you do have a beard.
I do my
those sort of
squats
things.
too. I do my
Yeah,
squats.
Mostly
so.
those things. Yep.
Interesting. So, Script, are you the Script from NXT? I'm sorry, I don't follow your show.
Listen, everyone is saying that it's Reggie.
Yes.
When he first showed up, it sounded like they were chanting Reggie, Reggie, but they were actually chanting Jesse, Jesse.
Okay.
They sound the same.
So, I mean, like, I know Reggie. I've interviewed him in person.
Yep.
I spoke to him. He actually said he really enjoyed our work here at Fightful. Are you sure that maybe they thought it was Reggie from WWE and maybe not Reggie Sanders?
Oh, could be Reggie White, but I heard he died.
He died
2 years back.
He died. He
So
did do some
probably not
wrestling
him.
though. He did some wrestling though.
He did do some wrestling. So maybe his death was a conspiracy. Most things are conspiracies, I find, like the Kennedy assassination or the other Kennedy assassination.
There's also Reggie Park, who unfortunately died as well. He created a lot of championship belts. What's your favorite championship belt?
I like big gold for me. The big gold belt, like that one.
Why is that? Is there a particular reason?
Listen, I can barely read at this point, and my eyes are gone. So I like that it's just kind of a flat surface there. You really can't see any words on it. I just like looking at it. It's kind of everything's kind of a blur.
But it's not a flat surface. It's heavily embossed. Like it's got a lot of texture to it.
That's probably what the old cataracts are working on me again, and I can't quite see them.
I'm just confused. Like this isn't like one of those like replica belts or something like that. The big gold belt is like, it's like a topographical map.
Sure, but I haven't felt it in a long time. I just watch it on my 28-inch tube TV that I keep, because the flat screens, they're all controlled by the government, don't you know? The whole thing, it's all a conspiracy.
I can certainly relate to you there, because if there's one thing this has done, it's made me lose the ability to feel anything for a very, very long time. Hopefully we can get Alex back on the show as we are beginning to wrap up. Please, if you don't mind, let him regain access to his PC. But it was nice talking to you, Scripts.
Right, talking to you too.
So
what happened? I've been trying to get back in. The stream went blank. I had no idea what was going on.
So this happens a lot on Tuesdays when I'm not around. This is the first time but I mean, clearly I'm not exempt from it.
Jesse the Body Ventura thinks he's Scripts and hacks my computer every Tuesday. I don't want it to happen. It just happens.
There's nothing you can do about it.
No.
And hey, we get Jesse the Body Ventura for free.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What are we going to do? Tell the people where they can find you, Alex.
You can find me on Tuesdays talking about different puns. We had 100 and 50 something Christmas wrestling puns last night. Some really good ones. My own my Elf TR was my own contribution last night. That was a lot of fun. On Tuesdays talking about NXT ostensibly, and then on Mondays reviewing Raw, and with Kate on Fightful Select, and on Fridays doing a watch along of Rampage while talking about SmackDown. That seems to be a popular way to handle that, and should be a lot of fun going forward.
Jake Salazar says, Sean, when will you be able to interview Linda? I love that people send like more money than usual when they're asking me this shit. Like Jake wasn't sending like a $1 or $2 super chat here. He sent a good $9.99 here.
That's right. That's right.
If I do that, that'll be on a Tuesday night.
That's right.
That much I assure you.
That'll be on a Tuesday night. Yeah.
Justin says he sounded like Kermit swallowed Fozzie Bear. Guys, thank you all so much. Please leave a thumbs up on this video. It would mean an awful lot. There are thousands of you here right now, only a few hundred likes. Those thumbs up go so far in telling YouTube we like what we're watching. So thank you all so much. How about this? A day after Dynamite on Thursday with Will Washington. Got the Spotlight with Dan the Dad Thursday morning. And then the post-Impact show. So much stuff going on. Until next time, we're out.